Now, I think there's a lot of merit in the democratic peace hypothesis if you can get rid of oligarchy and ordinary people can have more influence about policy and stop unjust wars. And I think that was Kant's idea originally when he said, monarchs waste the lives of citizens frivolously in the pleasure party of war. But that if you had republics in which you had not subjects but citizens, and citizens had a voice in whether you could go to war, they would be more peaceful. But as with that we give infinite amounts of money, $1 trillion, to these monsters at Goldman Sachs. But we, the Democrats, can't help poor people stay in their homes. And if you be black, I heard Joseph Lowery say you didn't have to stay back. But looks to me like a lot of poor people in Detroit, man, they're having their homes foreclosed. Look like you be black, you stay back. And if you're brown, you don't stick around. And if you're white, you're not all right if you're really poor white, and you better look out. So I like Joseph Lowery, and I think that jingle is just right, and I think that jingle, you know, Barack is president, thank goodness. But we got a long way to go here. So, questions? Comments?
Please.
Yes?
I'm curious as to your thoughts about the international community's response to the situation in Honduras.
Given that the U.S. has organized the overthrow of many regimes in Latin and Central America, the first fact to note is that although the thugs who overthrew Zelaya were trained at the Institute for the Americas under its new name, and are part of the American apparatus, and in some way the American apparatus was probably involved in the initial coup. Obama himself has not been, and has tried to at least temporize about this, and basically told them to created this deal in which they had to restore Zelaya for a month. This is a whole new thing. And again, if you look at it not from the point of view of what would be good, but from the point of view of, oh my God, compared to yesterday, just on the face of it, this is a pretty good thing. And it's one of many reasons for saying, you know, what a difference this guy makes. Within the limits of American foreign policy, which are quite constrained, it's a really nasty empire. It's a really nasty war-making empire. All the incentives are to do this, except that they've gone broke. That he's made this change is really striking. Wants to say something more?
No, I suppose surprised. I try and read the Spanish newspapers to see the response, and a lot of the citizenry in Honduras were opposed to Zelaya.
Mm-hmm.
And so the international community trying to force the reinstatement, which side has the justice on their side?
I think that a coup is illegal, and I think that in general, the coup has been the doctrine, the foremost aspect of the Monroe Doctrine. Woodrow Wilson had some good thoughts about collective security, but he invaded Mexico. He overthrew the Republic of Haiti in 1916, the Great Haitian Revolution against slavery, the revolution that created Haiti. He put a clerk in an American mining company in charge of Nicaragua in 1913. I would not speak of the coup as being a popular thing, but it has some popularity. Sounds like that. There's also a big force on the other side. And the general thing is that the United States acts for respecting democratic governments in Latin America differs from the United States cutting the throat of Allende and murdering thousands of people in Chile and so on and so forth. There are a dozen examples recently. And so, great. Yeah?
I'm thinking if Obama was to be able to get his health care through, he needs the 60 votes to stop on the filibuster. He'd be unstoppable in the next election, probably, if he got what he wanted. And then he could do whatever he wanted to in Afghanistan, you know. He could maybe withdraw the troops or end the war or whatever. But now that he's got that on his agenda, it's not complete. He has to do whatever that 40% instead of 1.
Yes and no. I think it would be great if we pass any kind of health care which prevents them from denying you for so-called previously existing conditions, and delaying health care enables you to be covered. And I don't know that it'd make him unstoppable, but it'd be pretty good. Nobody else has passed such a thing, so it'd be pretty good. But the fact is that if they keep going in Afghanistan,